The thermometer read 108 degrees, and Marin's hands were shaking too hard to hold it steady. Her daughter Junie hadn't opened her eyes in 20 minutes. "Mommy," the little girl whispered. Her lips cracked, her small chest rising too fast. "It hurts." Marin pressed a damp cloth to Junie's forehead, but the fever wasn't breaking. It was climbing. She'd already called every pharmacy in town. Closed, closed, closed. It was almost midnight on a Sunday, and the nearest hospital was 40 minutes away, if her car, which hadn't started reliably in weeks, decided to cooperate. She was a single mother, a waitress at a diner off Route 9. She had $11 in her purse and a daughter burning up in her arms. Then someone knocked. 3 sharp knocks, urgent, at an hour no stranger should be at her door. Marin froze. She hadn't ordered anything. She hadn't called anyone. Every instinct told her not to answer. But something about the knock, the rhythm of it, almost frantic, made her cross the room anyway. She opened the door to find a man she'd never seen before. Tall, unshaven, a baseball cap pulled low, holding a small amber bottle like it was something precious. "I know this looks strange," he said, breathless. "I heard you on the phone. Through the walls. I live 2 doors down." Marin's grip tightened on the doorframe. "You heard me? Your window was open. You said her fever's 108. I have children's fever medicine. The last bottle in this apartment complex, probably the last one in a 5-mile radius tonight." He held it out. "Please, take it before you decide I'm crazy." She should have said no. Every rule about strangers, about safety, about caution screamed at her to shut the door. But Junie whimpered from the bedroom, and Marin looked at the man's eyes. Not predatory, not calculating, just afraid, like a person who couldn't stand doing nothing. She took the bottle. If you believe kindness can still knock on a stranger's door in the middle of the night, if you believe compassion isn't dead in a world this exhausted, hit like and subscribe, because this story is about to show you exactly how far one small act can travel. The medicine brought Junie's fever down 1/2 degree within the hour. Not enough. Not nearly enough. But it bought time. "Who are you?" Marin finally asked, kneeling by Junie's bed while the stranger stood awkwardly in the doorway, refusing to come further inside. "Dale," he said, "I just moved in 3 weeks ago. Why do you even have children's medicine? You don't have kids." Dale's jaw tightened. He looked at the floor. "I had a daughter. She was about your girl's age." The word had hung in the room like smoke. "She got sick one winter. Fever like this one. I was working 2 jobs on the road when it happened. By the time I got home," he stopped, "I wasn't there. I've kept fever medicine in every place I've lived since, in case I'm ever close enough to help somebody else's kid in time." Marin's throat tightened. She hadn't expected this stranger's kindness to be built on top of a grief that deep. But Junie's breathing hitched, and there wasn't time to sit in sorrow. "She needs a hospital," Dale said, suddenly all urgency again. "The medicine will hold the fever, not cure it." "Do you have a car?" "It won't start half the time." "Mine will." 20 minutes later, Marin sat in the back seat of a stranger's truck, Junie's head in her lap, while Dale drove faster than any speed limit allowed, knuckles white on the wheel. "Talk to me," Marin said suddenly. "Why are you really doing this? People don't just—" "Because 6 years ago," Dale said, eyes fixed on the road, "a woman I never met sat with my daughter in an ambulance because I couldn't get there in time. She held her hand so she wouldn't be alone. My daughter didn't make it, but that woman stayed until the very end, and she told me later," she said, "someday do this for someone else's kid. Pass it forward." "I've been waiting 6 years for a door to knock on." Marin stared at him, stunned into silence. The road blurred past. They reached the hospital in record time. Nurses took Junie immediately. For fluids, cooling protocols, a doctor speaking words like heatstroke and "lucky you got her here when you did." Dale stayed in the waiting room the entire night. He didn't have to. He wasn't family. He was a man who lived 2 doors down and happened to knock. By morning, Junie's fever had broken completely. She opened her eyes, groggy but alive, and asked for apple juice like nothing had happened at all. Marin found Dale in the hallway, exhausted, still holding 2 vending machine coffees he'd bought hours ago and never drank. "I don't know how to repay you," she said. "You don't," Dale answered. "That's not how this works. Somebody did it for me poorly, too late for my daughter, but not for who came after. You don't repay kindness. You just keep passing it down the line." Weeks later, Marin left a small bag on Dale's doorstep. Inside was a card and a bottle of children's fever medicine, brand new, still sealed. The card read, "In case you ever need to knock on someone else's door." Dale kept that bottle on his shelf for 2 more years, until the night a young father 3 units down came pounding on his door at 2 a.m. Panicked, holding a screaming toddler burning up with fever. Dale opened the door without hesitation. "I know this looks strange," he said, handing over the bottle, "but I've got exactly what you need. Some circles never close. They just keep turning, from one frightened parent to the next, carried by strangers willing to knock." If the story moved you, stay close. There are more waiting, stories about ordinary people who chose kindness when it mattered most. Subscribe and let's keep passing them forward, one door at a time.